Hi Gemini, this is your general tarot reading for Gemini Sun, Moon and Ascendant or Rising sign for the month of February 2018. So I'm shuffling the cards here and I'm going to talk about the energies and then we'll wait for the right cards to come out. Just for you, Gem, just for the little gems. I hope you're doing okay, feeling good. I'm saying that because there's part of me that must give you a little bit of a heads up about something. And you're saying, oh, a heads up. This doesn't sound good. This sounds a bit worrying. No, it's not worrying at all, Gemini. It's a challenge that all the signs are going to face one way or another. It's the lunar eclipse on the 31st of January, being heralded in on a Leo moon, and it's going to be hitting your third house. So you're going to feel the impact of this quite deeply. And that's why I'm asking you to put your seatbelt on, because it might be a bumpy ride, okay? And once you're warned of this, you can prepare yourself, okay, Gemini? So when I'm telling you these things, you know that it's coming from a place of care, a place of wanting you to have that heads up, okay? As a bunch of cards come out, the first card is the Lovers, which is the Gemini card. I like that. So your first card is talking about you. Lunar eclipse is happening in your house. So I'm going to continue as I put the cards down talking about the energy that you're going to feel there. The Ace of Pentacles, the Devil. And this is exactly what I'm going to be talking about. You see, Gemini, what you're going to feel with this lunar eclipse is triggered. Okay, triggered. And you say, why? Who's going to trigger me? What's going to trigger me? I'm not going to get triggered by anybody or anything. You will. And I'm going to warn you in advance so you're ready for it. So you've got your armbands on and your safety jacket all inflated. So you're ready to ride the waves, okay? Strength is your next card, followed by the Nine of Pentacles. So why is it going to be weird for you, Gemini, as this card jumps out? The Hermit. Well, you're going to be dealing with two eclipses in February. And the axis is on your third house and your ninth house. Third house is you, who you are, what you do. You're Mercurial, so you communicate your thoughts and ideas freely. You're able to chit-chat and you're able to access information. You have a memory, great memory, and you're able to see a situation and say, aha, I remember reading a book on this. I remember learning somewhere along the line in my studies about this, or learning through people, through a conversation, through something like that. I know how to talk about this subject. And then you'll go in your wonderful Gemini energy, sharing all that gorgeous information that you've picked up along the way, because you are the communicator. If somebody has a great idea, it will be Gemini who has the energy and the ability to share that idea and run with it, okay? And you're saying, okay, this sounds good. Why have I to have a heads up on this? The lunar eclipse is going to force you to look at whether the information you're sharing on a day-to-day basis through your work life, through your friends in particular, your siblings, and anybody that you communicate with on a regular basis. The lunar eclipse is going to trigger you into feeling that what you're talking about is all nonsense. Yeah. Because on the ninth house opposite is the real source of information. It's the place where you quiet your mind and channel the good stuff, the real deal, the source of all information. So here's a scenario that could happen, Gemini. The lunar eclipse could bring out very strange people and situations who will trigger you by saying, you're just talking nonsense, you're just repeating a bunch of stuff that you were told by this person or that person. They'll accuse you of gossiping. They'll accuse you of slandering. And they'll accuse you of being part of the he said, she said crowd. the tit for tat, the, oh, you do this to me, I'll do that to you, you do that. And friends in particular, close friends, will call you out on that. And they'll say, why are you bothering? Why are you getting into all that? Why? I mean, aren't you bigger than this? Now, why will that hurt you? It'll hurt you because A, it will come from people that you trust. The communication that you have with your friends will start getting a little bit weird. And you'll start feeling kind of undertones that what they're saying to you, Two of Pentacles, is a bit personal or a bit picking on you in some way. And you'll feel that at some point you'll have to pull back a little bit and go back to the original source of information. Go back to where you get your strength from, where you get your abilities from, and where you get your authenticity from. Okay, so that's the energy. And of course there'll be a lot of mental activity happening for you with this lunar eclipse. It'll be like somebody puts extra gasoline into you and puts you into turbocharge. And that's probably what your friends are going to pick up on. They're going to say, calm down, calm down. You're talking too much, you're saying too much. And yet it's not coming from a good place. Now, Jem, I don't like to say that because we talked about this last month. These are all the stereotypical things that you hear about Gemini. And I think that's the key. This lunar eclipse is going to challenge the stereotypes that you're always trying to fight. Didn't we talk last month about that you have these great depths, that you love deeply, that you wrap yourself so much in your love and the things that you care about, and you're willing to give so much energy and profoundness to that. And yet here we are in the month of February with people saying, you're superficial, you're just a gossip, you're just he said, she said crowd type of person. And you're saying, again, this is how you'll be triggered. Again, we're coming back to this stereotype that I'm always trying to fight. And you'll be saying, I am the real deal. I do know what I'm talking about. I am not just gossiping, but I'm getting this from the real source. It's stereotype after Gemini stereotype that you're going to have to fight. I'm sorry, Gemini, but that's the energy at the very beginning, but it does get better. I just had to get the bad news out at the beginning, okay? The Five of Cups. Next we have the Fool. Then we have the Three of Pentacles. Then we have the Queen of Pentacles. Then we have the Knight of Cups. Two extra cards, the Hanged Man and Justice. So I lay those down there. Organize the cards, and let's get into the cards, because I think I spoke enough there of the energies that are happening. Any other energies happening? Mars in your 7th house of relationships, putting more energy into your relationships. We'll see whether that's positive or negative energy, because sometimes Mars can get us into trouble. I'm very aware, Gemini, okay, that I've spent almost 10 minutes saying things that might be perceived as negative. I'm not doing that, Jim. I'm not doing it. It's just that I want you to be prepared for some of the heavier energies that might be happening for you in February, so that you can sail through them, so that you're not triggered, so that it doesn't send you into a spin and send you into overdrive. Okay? I'd love this reading to begin with, oh happy days, love is in the air. It would be unfair to do that to you, because I wouldn't be actually talking about the things that are going to be happening at the beginning, okay? But I'm sure we'll figure out a happy ending to this somewhere along the way, okay? Gemini, let's move down. Let's go and see the cards. So we begin with the Gemini card, the Lovers. And, here's the thing that I love most about Gemini. as we have the universe confirming that beside it. The thing I love most about you guys is that you're given the task of duality, of separating the raw materials of life and labeling them, cataloguing them, sorting them, and dividing them so that you can understand them better. And you see, this is where people aren't going to get you during the month of February. It is your task to unravel things, to open them out and lay them out on the table. That is your purpose, what you've been asked to do. It's the divine that has handed you this very, very gift. And yet, in the madness of the lunar eclipse, people will say, oh, you're just picking things apart. Why can't you see the bigger picture? It's all about trying to, he said, and focusing on the words and only the words without any of the feeling or form. But yet that is your very gift. Remember, the root of the word to solve something, solve, which is what you do, you are problem solvers, is to divide and cut and separate something, to cut it into pieces, cut it apart. Because, see, we have here Gemini, two things standing apart. There is something in the middle. And it's what's going to get complicated for you to explain to people in February, that you do focus on the nitty-gritty sometimes. You do pull things apart. You do get presented with something and you say, that's wonderful. Now let me take all the pieces out so I can understand how this functions. You have the task of understanding how the mechanism works inside. Okay? So often when people say, you're not seeing the bigger picture, well, you haven't been asked to do that. That is not your strength specifically. You're very capable of doing it. You're more than able to do that. But it's where your strength is, Gemini, in seeing the pieces of the puzzle and joining them together. I said this to you last month. Very often, Gemini are good at jigsaws, at crosswords, at solving actual puzzles, because that is how your mind works. And see, that is your gift. So again, when you're triggered and people say, you're just looking at the small details, you'll be able to stand up proudly and say, yeah, that's my job. That's what I do. That's what I'm best at. And it's in the small details, when I put them all together and create a jigsaw puzzle, you'll begin to see the big picture. I will be able to present the big picture. So you'll be able to say that when you're challenged. Now here comes the madness, the obsession, the one who tries to beat you down, the one that says, stop what you're doing, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to be a burden upon you. And that is what the madness, remember, madness of the lunar eclipse will bring. It will say, stop, Gemini. I am going to invite a world of mad upon you at the beginning of the month, okay, with all these conversations. And again, I'll go back and say, through your friends, which will be the most disappointing moment for you, because you get such a great sense of joy and pleasure and strength from your friends. And here he'll come and say, no, I'm not going to let you have that. I'm just going to make it weird, and I'm going to channel it through your source of strength, which is your friends and the people that you communicate with on a regular basis. They're going to let you down, baby. But the reason for that is to give you strength and confidence in what you're doing. And why would you need strength and confidence in what you're doing? Very often, Gemini, you can depend very much on the feedback of other people, on the feedback of your friends and your siblings, in order to feel that you're doing something worthwhile, possibly even through your co-workers. And this card is coming in saying the lunar eclipse is going to force you to not depend so heavily on outside influences for your strength, that it's got to ultimately come from you. And he will frazzle your nerves, he will test you, because that's what Saturn energy here, the devil is Saturn energy. He will test you as if we didn't have enough tests already over the Christmas period. But this is what's going to be happening. The shit that you left behind over the Christmas period is now going to be finally finished. And the eclipses will finally close that door on it. And it will leave you with a greater sense of inner strength. You see, Gemini, I did tell you that even though it'll start out like an absolute bag of mad at the start of the month, the reason is so that you can be more sure of who you are and what you do, and you won't be so triggered, and you won't allow the people you communicate with, particularly your friends, have such control over whether you feel good and strong about yourself. You will end up feeling that you can say and do anything because you don't need the approval of these people. Okay? That they can just go back to being your friends, which is what they should be. They can be a source of strength, a source of guidance, but they can't be the only place that you get your strength and guidance from, okay? And here we go, Gemini. This is you standing strong, standing proud, standing independently of everybody else. You see how the energy is beginning to move? You're feeling strong enough to stand on your own 2 feet under the influence of 9. 9 being that you're standing on your own, drawing your power from another source. I mean, look at this guy. He is there saying, a little birdie told me something. But this time, the little birdie isn't just he said, she said stuff. It is, see this, these are very important symbols in ancient mythology. These birds are called psychopomps, and what they do is they come down from the sky and land on the people, landing on his hand, and they pass messages. That's often where the phrase, a little birdie told me something, that the birds travel from the other world to this world. And see, here he is landing on your hand in the 9th house, where you are able to receive higher energy from a higher information, should I say, from a higher source. And you will begin to benefit from that information. You'll feel stronger, more secure, more independent, because you have more trust in that, because your connection to the other world or the higher sources of information are stronger. Maybe some of you will have to go back to college, to school, to learn more. Maybe some of you might want to travel a bit more, to broaden and deepen your horizons on something, to take your mind out of the parochial marketplace conversation. You realize that there are other sources out there to draw from. And see, a little birdie is going to tell you more. Okay? It's no coincidence either that Gemini is often associated with birds. Geminis like to keep parrots or canaries and things like that, because not only because they're animals who can talk back to you, but because they are symbols of creatures who are able to channel from a higher source. And it will give you strength. And right beside that here is, another 9 card. You see it here? The Hermit. He is the card of Virgo. So a Virgo could be very instrumental, either positively or negatively, in broadening your mind, opening you up to something bigger, wider. And it will be a great source of enlightenment for you. They will teach you something about staying quiet and drawing your wisdom from an inner place, drawing your inspiration from a place of authentic truth, so they might be very key in helping you, learn more, see more. But essentially, both of these cards are really strongly indicating that you want to broaden your horizons, and you've reached that point of no return. You don't want to look back. You don't want to think small anymore. And you don't want to just, have people believe that you're small-minded. I know I keep saying that. I'm sorry to repeat myself. Here we have the Two of Pentacles, trying to balance things, trying to balance your life, your money in particular, because there is an emphasis on your career. We've got Mercury and the Sun mid-month going into your 10th house, showing you that you'll be able to communicate your ideas better. You have Venus also joining Neptune in the 10th house. And I want to say this, sometimes when Neptune moves into the 10th house, he can cast illusions over that area that he's in. It will be fun, it'll be pleasurable, it'll be dreamy, but just be careful in your career that you don't fall victim to the Neptune illusion. This is also where you might need to draw your strength, so you can hang your lamp up, hold your lantern up and say, is some of the stuff that I'm doing in my career, is it a bit too out there? Is it a bit kind of phony? Am I falling victim to somebody who is giving me praise in my workplace? And that praise may not actually be sincere. So that's something to consider too, Gemini. But you'll be able to find balance in all of that. You'll be able to balance your finances and balance your purpose. See, we're going to balance the 3rd house and the 9th house. You will be able to achieve that balance. And yet beside it, we have the 5 of Cups, which talks about disappointment in love. Feeling, I mean, look at this guy. He's crying a river. There's a bridge that he is trying to get over. But before he can do that, he has to look down at his feet and see all of the love and the feelings, the emotions that seem to have been knocked over. A lot of emotions are getting spilled, and I do attribute that to the lunar eclipse in your 3rd house, because it will feel very personal, and people that you do trust will come and upset you personally and deeply, and it'll feel quite severe. Remember, sometimes when we get a 5 card, it can feel like somebody being very severe, coming down heavy on you, fighting with you. But don't worry about that, because there's more where that came from. You're turning your back a little bit on love, because perhaps you had so much to balance, so much going on in your mind and in your purpose, trying to balance money too. Perhaps money was a big issue. And you got so disappointed also that you're turning your back and you're saying, I don't know if I'm able for this. I don't know if I'm cut out to fall in love. I don't know. Every time I seem to give my heart and soul, somebody's always just ready to knock me down and to disappoint me. And that is what it's going to feel. The moment you start getting your career together, love will start falling apart. It's like, where is the balance here? Why can't I get all of this together? But the good news is, even though I'm saying this and it seems quite negative, and I promise you, Gemini, I am not just here to be the bringer of bad news. I am just showing you what is going to be brought up for you in February in order for you to work it out. Now here we have the Fool. Didn't I say that as Venus moves into the 10th house mid-month, joining Neptune, that you are going to feel like you've been fooled in love? Fooled in love, but also it's like somebody is trying to cast a shadow or trying to cast something over you that is distracting you from your work environment too. Is somebody drawing you away, or is there an illusion? Something is not clear. You can't seem to get to the truth of your work situation. And very often it'll culminate in you towards the end of the month feeling like, oh, you know what, to hell with it all. I just don't care. I am just going to take a leap of faith. I'm doing my best to balance my money here, my career. I'm doing my best to try and get over the disappointments, and when money goes right, love goes wrong. When love goes right, money goes wrong. I'm trying my best to draw strength from everything that I'm doing, and yet people are disappointing me. Perhaps Virgo is trying to point me in the right direction, and yet I'm not prepared to hear what they're saying. Perhaps it will trigger me. I know that I have to look deeper. I know I have to broaden my horizons and open my mind into a higher course of learning. But it all just feels so much and so intense and so much on your mind that you will be tempted to just say, to hell with everybody, to hell with it all. I just want to tell them all to go kiss my ass, and I'm going to take a leap of faith and do something so radically different and surprise everybody as I'm doing it, because I feel that the sun is on my back. The sun is behind me to just lighten my load, take off all the burdens. You see, as I'm reading your cards, it's very difficult for me to really engage with the cards because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling all this energy of so much activity in your mind and being absolutely overburdened by it, that it's almost like a constant headache for you. Constant headache that, again, if we can do this and read this quickly, Gemini, then you don't have to suffer this anymore. You'll be able to be like the Fool and free yourself of that intense mental energy and the worries that are going to be brought, okay? Because I feel it. I feel that energy. Too much going on in your mind where you're just, I need to get away and start it all again. And perhaps that's what you are going to be thinking of doing, Gemini. You're going to be collaborating with other people. You're going to be in talks with other people about how to make money firstly, because this is a card. You're going to perhaps learn again, like the Fool, a beginner. Learn from the very beginning how to increase your income, how to make more money, how to learn more, how to open your mind, broaden your horizons, and yet at the same time, a card just jumping out. You're saying, yes, I need to do this, I need to do this. Opening your mind, collaborating with the right people. This is important. Not people with Neptune energy this month who are just going to tell you what you need to hear, but real friends, real people who are going to tell you how to really get things moving for you financially. I'm going to move the camera up here because that's what I'm feeling. As I said, you have a lot of people around you that are going to tell you things that you want to hear, not things that you need to hear. And then the shock will come with the eclipse, and then all of a sudden they'll rush out and say, well, actually, you do this, and it'll seem like it'll come out of nowhere. It'll be so confusing. So all through this month, I need you to be clear, Gemini. I need you to be so clear. Focus on your money. Focus on getting your career in balance, your money in balance, learning something new, broadening your mind, and focus so you're not drawn into the madness. Because I'm getting this feeling as I'm strongly warning you here, Gemini. And again, I should be here saying, oh, you'll have love, you'll have money, you'll win the lottery, you'll do this. I can't do that to you, Gemini. I can't promise you that. But what I can give you as a gift is this heads up. Heads up. Keep your focus, baby. Because here we have towards the end, once you do get your focus together and once you are clear and grounded, baby, then you'll understand how to materialize all the good things in your life. All the things, money, literally, because that's going to be there for you. You're going to materialize your finances, balance them finally once you're grounded. Your career will go great. It will become stronger once you're grounded. Your love life, once you're grounded, will be stronger and better. And this is also an earth energy. Perhaps you do have the loyalty and trust of an earthy person, which is a Capricorn, a Taurus, or a Virgo. Listen to them, because they're offering you a way to come back down to earth once your head gets so scrambled by the energy of February. And trust them, trust what they say. They're saying, come on, baby, focus on the money, focus on your spirit, focus on going back to what you absolutely believe in. We did this last month, didn't we, Gemini? We said, go back to your roots, go back to the basics, trust what you know how to do, go back to the source and start again, fresher and better. And then once you do that, the Knight of Cups is self-reflection. Before I talk about it being an actual love card, it is self-reflection. Very often he will hold the cup out, but first he must look deeply into it and examine if he is giving love. He is giving something positive out there to his friends, to his family, to the world, in how he communicates. Is it positive? Because if it's not positive, Saturn is going to come and make that clear for you this month. He's going to slap you and say, no, baby, this is not what you started out to do. Go back and learn to be positive again. Learn to love strongly and deeply again without getting too bogged down by the nitty-gritty and the details and the words. He said, she said, but you said and I said, and then you never said sorry because you said this to me. But forget it, forget it, forget it. Be like the Knight. Walk back in. Sorry, I don't know why. There was a flash there. I thought the camera cut out. Walk back in, holding your head up high and love from a genuine place. Love deeply, love sincerely, and love honestly. And show the people what we talked about last month. Show them that you are not the stereotype that they often say of Gemini being superficial, of gossipy. You're not that. So walk in with your head held high, loving yourself enough that you can show them that there is more depth to you, much more to your love, much more to what you have to offer, and that you are sincere. And I like that. Two last cards here. Here we have the Justice card, which is Libra in her Athena form, which is the bringer of justice. February might again find you separating the truth from the lies. And this again, this is a big theme, Gemini, for you this month. Separating the truth from the lies, the right from the wrong, the black from the white. Didn't we say that you separate things? So this could be the energy for you towards the end of the month. Your final realization will be that, yes, it is my strength to separate things out in order for me to see the big picture. This is my strength and I can do that. And you'll feel vindicated by doing that. You'll feel that you have the right to do that. You'll feel stronger once you learn that it is your God-given right to separate things and to cast judgment on things in a loving way, in a loving, generous, open-hearted, emotionally flowing way. And then finally, it's the Hanged Man, which is to do about sacrifices. But generally, this is about sacrificing your worldview, sacrificing your perspective, because he wasn't put there. Nobody took him and wrapped rope around him and hung him from a tree. Instead, he sacrificed something. He deliberately turned his world upside down in order to see the world from a different angle. And that is your challenge this month, Gemini, seeing the world from a different angle, from a more loving angle. Not that you're not loving, you are. It's what you're projecting. It's what we spoke about last month. Project that beautiful love that you have, Gemini, and let other people finally see it. Step away from the cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Words are only important if you put emotions to them. And this is where the separation is going to have to happen. When the lunar eclipse comes and they challenge your words, challenge the things that you're saying, don't get so emotional about that. just remember your happy place. Remember where you draw your original strength from and only speak from that place. You see, I want you to see the positive in what I'm trying to say to you. And I know I keep repeating that, but it actually is. And Gemini, come back next month, because you'll be able then to see how this has panned out, how it actually has been a positive month for you, how you've grown and how you've learned how to show your truth, baby. Because once you show your truth, everything else will fall into place. Okay? Gemini, I'm going to send you a big, huge kiss from me to you. And I hope that you see the positive in the heads up I'm trying to give you here. I hope you do, because it is coming from a place of love, and I do love you very much. And here is my kiss from me to you, from my heart. Love you lots, Gemini. See you next month.